Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into exactly how artificial intelligence is completely transforming modern medicine. This technology is advancing at literally breakneck speed, and it's fundamentally reshaping your relationship with your doctor. But as you'll see, it's not entirely in the ways you might expect. Let's get right into it.
So imagine this. You get home from a totally normal, routine doctor's visit. You log into your official health portal to check your notes, and you find bizarre AI-generated medical advice hidden right there in your official chart. Stuff like, being advised to rub peanut butter on your scalp to treat thinning hair. Or maybe you see a terrifying, completely fabricated warning about severe liver damage from an injection you never even got. Crazy, right? Well, this isn't some hypothetical sci-fi glitch. These are real-world examples of what happens when we let algorithms into the exam room completely unsupervised.
Here is how we're going to break this all down today. First up, the invisible medical assistant. Second, we'll track the shift from rules to generative AI. Third, we'll tackle the hallucination problem. Fourth, we'll look at automation bias and shadow AI. And finally, number 5, the path to safe AI. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, the invisible medical assistant.
Okay, so the promise of AI in the clinic is genuinely profound. Think about it. Historically, doctors spend hours manually translating messy, rambling human conversations into highly structured medical files called SOAP notes. It's an absolutely exhausting process, and it usually drags on well into their evenings. But today, we have these new ambient AI scribes. They basically just sit quietly on a doctor's phone, passively listening to the appointment and drafting those clinical notes automatically. Research from places like UPMC shows that this quiet little assistant can save exhausted healthcare workers up to 2 hours every single day. They actually call this off-the-clock documentation pajama time, which is a fun name for a pretty miserable chore. And hey, as a patient, you absolutely want a well-rested doctor, not an exhausted data entry clerk, right?
I absolutely love this quote. It just perfectly captures the ultimate benefit of this technology. By removing the computer screen, doctors can actually restore genuine human connection. As one physician pointed out during an AI pilot program, without the constant distraction of a keyboard, they were finally able to just look their patients in the eye and truly listen to them again. It's a real game changer.
Moving right along to section 2, from rules to generative AI.
It helps to look at how we got here. In the early days, we had rule-based alerts. This was super rigid, if-then logic that honestly just annoyed doctors and caused extreme alert fatigue. Then we upgraded to machine learning. This was better. It could recognize patterns, like calculating sepsis risk scores, but it was still heavily limited by the specific data it was trained on. Fast forward to today, and we've leaped into generative AI. This stuff can magically draft text and summarize incredibly complex patient histories. But, and this is a massive but, it brings a terrifying new variable to the table, something called a hallucination.
Here is the crucial thing you really got to understand. Generative AI doesn't actually understand biology, or chemistry, or human suffering. Not even a little bit. It's literally just a predictive text engine calculating the most mathematically probable next word. So when you swap out a highly trained physician's critical thinking for a probability machine, you're turning a factual medical history into a series of highly educated mathematical guesses.
Which brings us to section 3, the hallucination problem.
Get this, there is a massive shift happening right now, almost entirely out of sight. Nearly 65% of U.S. physicians, that is roughly 650,000 doctors, are already using AI platforms to help make clinical decisions. It has reached almost 2/3 of American doctors before the medical community has even agreed on universal safety rules. That is moving fast. But here's where it gets wild. The Ontario Auditor General recently tested 20 government-approved AI scribes using simulated patient interactions, and the failure rates were literally catastrophic. 85% of the AI scribes completely missed key mental health details. 60% recorded entirely incorrect medications, and 45% just totally fabricated information. I mean, they were literally hallucinating phantom blood tests and therapies that were never once mentioned in the room. So we're seeing this massive, glaring disconnect between how widely this tech is adopted and how safely it actually performs.
So, let's define this. An AI hallucination isn't just some quirky software bug. It happens when an AI confidently asserts completely incorrect information, simply because it lacks the self-awareness to separate its statistical imagination from grounded medical truth. And in a clinical setting, a hallucination means a statistical mistake on a computer screen can cascade straight into a dangerous physical treatment plan for the actual living patient sitting right in front of them.
Now let's pivot to Section 4, automation bias and shadow AI.
Think about it. Becoming a doctor requires years and years of grueling, cognitive struggle to build medical intuition. But if a shiny new app hands a junior doctor a beautifully formatted answer in 3 seconds flat, they experience what's called automation bias. It's just a deeply human tendency to trust a confident-sounding machine and outsource the heavy lifting of critical thinking. By skipping that intense cognitive struggle of deciphering symptoms, tomorrow's doctors are facing a really dangerous de-skilling loop, where their foundational medical intuition just quietly erodes over time.
And then there's this systemic nightmare known as shadow AI. This is unvetted AI software that healthcare workers quietly download directly onto their personal smartphones to use during patient visits. Because the tech is just so incredibly good at saving time, a lot of doctors are flat out refusing to wait for their hospital IT departments to formally approve it. They're making vital clinical decisions entirely off the official radar. And yeah, that means your deeply personal health data could literally be floating around on a doctor's unvetted personal smartphone app.
Okay. Finally, Section 5, the path to safe AI. How do we fix this?
Well, institutions like the Mount Sinai Health System are proving that official integration is really the only way to drag these tools into the light and protect patients. If you try to enforce a blanket ban on AI, it completely fails. It just pushes the usage further into the shadows. Instead, hospitals have to actively integrate fully vetted AI tools directly into their official electronic health records. That way, the usage can actually be monitored, secured, and governed on a large scale.
From a purely technical standpoint, we absolutely need solutions like Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's basically a technique where the AI is forced to search a reliable outside clinical archive for verified facts before it's allowed to generate its answer. Think of it like this. Instead of the AI taking a closed-book memory test where it's super prone to making things up, we shift it to an open-book test that is anchored strictly to real, proven medical evidence.
A really great way to visualize this safeguard is to a chain of verification. This is basically a structured self-auditing technique built right into the AI. Walk through this with me. First, the AI drafts a baseline response. Second, it explicitly lists out the clinical facts it just used. Third, it generates questions to verify those exact facts against the source text. And fourth, it provides a final corrected version. It basically forces the AI to systematically double-check its own internal reasoning before it ever shows anything to a doctor.
But, tweaking the software is only half the battle. Human physicians have to remain the ultimate authority. Rebuilding medical education is absolutely essential right now. Medical schools must explicitly train incoming doctors in AI verification, enforcing a really strict trust but verify mindset. We literally have to teach the next generation of doctors exactly how to sort out the genuine medical signals from the algorithmic noise so they can catch these hallucinations long before they ever reach a patient.
I think this metaphor totally hits the nail on the head. Moving forward, doctors cannot treat AI as some infallible oracle. Instead, they have to treat it like a brilliant, highly capable, yet entirely untrustworthy first-year resident. The AI can do all the grueling administrative heavy lifting, sure, but the attending human physician must continually supervise, verify, and correct its work. So as this incredible technology permanently embeds itself in our clinics, it really leaves us with a profound dilemma. As artificial intelligence becomes an irreversible fixture in the exam room, who will ultimately be held responsible when the algorithm makes a fatal guess and a de-skilled human fails to catch it? It really leaves you wondering exactly how our medical ethics and our liabilities are going to adapt to a future so intimately shared with machines. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I'll see you next time.